Hi there. It's been a while. I've been saying in Discord VR community that I've been creating a VR game specifically for KatWalk. Today, I'm finally ready to share my first progress update. How exciting! I started to build in Unity, but then switched to Unreal Engine. I'll show you both unfinished states which I got for now, but first, let me tell you why and how I started my journey into VR game development for KatWalk.
Um, yeah,
I wanted to create something for VR since the time I bought Quest 2. About a
I
year ago, I bought KatWalk C2 to exercise more in VR. I wanted to use my legs, full body. There were some issues with KatWalk C2 gateway, but they were fixed. And honestly, the experience you can get on it is great. Lots of games where KatWalk emulates joystick are so much fun, but I wanted more. I thought traditional VR games don't really take advantage of the full potential of the treadmill. In most games, you walk probably only half of the time you play, or even less. In shooters, you spend a lot of time standing. You need to wait and aim, and when you move, you advance slowly, with caution. Sometimes you move in short bursts. In adventure games, with a bit of shooting, you spend a lot of time solving puzzles. In big open world games, you need to walk a lot, but if you are physically fit, you need to spend hours playing them to have a decent exercise. Unfortunately, between family and work, I have only a few gaming hours per week, not per day. I need a game that would exhaust me in 15 minutes or so. A few games are actually quite intense and physical. They make you sweat a lot very quickly. Look at my heart rate. However, the experience in them is more like dancing in circles. Lots of turning. Makes me dizzy. All I said, maybe is not an issue for many people. Some don't want to get tired too quickly, and others have lots of time for gaming. A much bigger problem, I think, is that game physics in traditional VR games don't take into account the new information about decoupled body turning and feet movement that KatWalk is adding. In them, you still can only control your character head and hands, and your movement still feels joystick based, with lots of sliding when you try to run. So I started to look for so-called native games, specifically built for KatWalk, but didn't find anything worth playing. I found some KatWalk modifications or mods for games. There are several of them. They help overcome some limitations, but don't bring the physicality I wanted. I came to a conclusion that for a game to be truly great on KatWalk, it has to be built with KatWalk in mind. I chatted with Matt Fredward, who built Blade and Sorcerer and Vertigo 2 mods. Looking at his code inspired me to take baby steps in game development. In July this year, I decided to try and learn a bit of Unity. I quickly realized I wanted to build my own VR game for KatWalk from scratch. I got so captivated by game development in the process. I've been doing software development and data science for over 20 years, but game development is something completely new and fresh for me. After a while, I built this. I made use of KatWalk SDK first, but then I started to create a terrain. Yes, probably not a great choice for the next step, but I just enjoyed it. I spent time thinking on start menu and added a hut as a character starting point instead. Then I spent time learning how to add hand menu, leaderboard and game statistics. I threw in some dummy enemies. Hello cutie. I spent lots of time on mechanics of the game, but not enough. I was using move speed supplied by KatWalk. It's a synthetic speed that the KatWalk gateway calculates for emulating locomotion. It's actually quite good and serves its purpose in joystick-emulated games. But when you start using it without joystick limitations in native games, you quickly notice it's not very realistic. Walking wasn't too bad, but when I was running, well, you cannot see it here, but there is speed and distance in front of you when you are in the game. Unfortunately, it didn't get captured in the recording. But believe me, I'm running here at almost 13 meters per second. That's more than world record by Usain Bolt. You accelerate too fast and feel almost like gliding over the field. I decided to spend more time on game physics. This is when Unity crisis happened. If you don't know, Unity threw a stunt by changing their pricing model. They wanted developers to pay per installations of their games. Many Unity developers got pissed off and started boycotting Unity. I decided to try Unreal Engine instead. I didn't plan to abandon Unity, I just wanted to explore my alternatives. These are my early attempts to use KatWalk SDK in Unreal. Yeah, a shoe on the table. I managed to connect the treadmill. It was harder than in Unity, but when I achieved this, it felt great. I know that Unity reversed their decision, but it was too late. I realized I liked Unreal Engine more than Unity. It just seems more logical and more powerful to me. I learned the basics and jumped into blueprints. This time I decided to focus on the character, its physicality and the movement first. I changed to use raw speed from each foot instead of the pre-processed walk speed. I added a full body avatar. You can be physical if you don't have a body in the game after all. The mirror here is for illustration purposes. I'm just using a standard Unreal Engine mannequin and standard terrain for now. But hey, look, have you seen this kind of things in any VR game? I'm using the rotation angle from KatWalk and the body moves only when I walk. I can see my legs and bend my body. I can even look in between my legs. This is how bending looks in contractors. The character just moves. In games with joystick movement, bending doesn't make sense, because people actually move about in place. But for native KatWalk games, bending is possible, because you know that a person is attached to the treadmill and stays in place. This is Blade and Sorcery, one of the most physical VR games. Bending too much and squatting is a bit broken in my game for now, but I know how to fix them, just need more time. Now, the coolest bit. Look, I can lift my legs. Yes, the character is leg aware. Just to remind you, I don't have full body tracking here. I'm using only KatWalk sensors. All I have is body rotation angle, speed of each foot only on the ground, so when a foot goes in the air, I have no information about it. I also know if a foot is in the air or on the ground. The rest is clever logic and interpolation. Look at walking. The leg movement is synchronized with my real legs. For now I'm just pushing the character with the speed of each foot, using character controller. That's again like using a joystick, and that's lame. It's slow and it doesn't work for running. It's also not very physical. What I eventually want is to completely bypass character controller. I want to purely use the force that feet generate when they touch the ground. I want to take body mass, game terrain and forces of nature into account. Actually, the way I see it, I want to build a solid foundation for many native KatWalk games. I can't compete with the games I showed before in terms of graphics, game world or story, so game physics are the bedrock for me. The exact idea of the game doesn't matter yet, even though I do have some. I want to give a kind of experience people can't have without a treadmill, not even close. That's it for now. Thanks for attention, stay tuned.